Old lady out shit. Grandma! Say hey to the camera. Hey! Twerk, 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 twerk.
Buckeye tonight, police say a grandmother killed her granddaughter tonight.
The shooting happened at a home near Baseline and Miller Roads. And Fox 10's Nicole Christine is live with the very latest for us tonight. Nicole, what happened?
Yeah, good evening, Brian and Ashley. This is a complex situation, according to Buckeye police. Evidence still being collected and information still to come from them. They say that this all started this afternoon, just after 4 o'clock, with a shooting call to 911. And during that call, they could hear yelling in the background. They said that once they got to the scene here in this neighborhood in Buckeye, they ordered everyone inside the home to come out. They said a woman in her 50s did come out of the home. She was detained without incident, but she was the only one to come out of the home. So once they went inside to search for others, they did find a woman in her 30s, unresponsive, suffering a gunshot wound. She had been shot at least once. Exactly how many times is still part of the investigation. First responders did try to save her, but sadly she did die on scene. Police also found a woman in her 70s inside the home with a handgun near her. They believe at this point that that was the shooter. Preliminary evidence indicating this is a domestic violence incident involving a grandmother, mother, and a granddaughter who all lived in this home. At this point, no other people are believed to have lived there except for these three. Buckeye police say this is the first homicide of the year with city police, and it's been a hard day for everyone.
Look, I've covered a lot of family murders in my time, but this one actually made me pause and rewind the police report because I thought I'd read it wrong. A grandmother shot her granddaughter during what started as a regular family dispute. And somehow, this gets worse the deeper we go.
I'm Troy Hayden, a grandmother behind bars accused of killing her own granddaughter. Police say it started with a family fight involving 3 different generations of women.
12 News journalist Gabriella Becerra is live in Buckeye with new details on this investigation. Gabriella?
Well, Tram and Troy, Deborah Green Davis is now facing a second-degree murder charge. We've learned she lived in this house behind me with her daughter and granddaughter. All 3 of them were home last night when this shooting happened. According to court documents, Green Davis allegedly called 911 after hearing her daughter and granddaughter physically fighting in another room. Her granddaughter allegedly attempted to take the phone away from her grandmother by punching her in the head and shoulder. The fighting continued, and that's when Green Davis allegedly took out a gun and shot her granddaughter in the back. Officers arrived at the home near Miller and Baseline Roads and shouted commands for everyone to come outside. The mother, only identified as a woman in her 50s, did come outside without a problem. Officers then went into the home and found the granddaughter, identified as 31-year-old Larkia Elliott. They did CPR, but she died. Officers continued to search the home and then found Green Davis alone in another room with a gun.
Grandmother behind bars accused of taking out her own granddaughter. Police say it started with a family fight involving 3 different generations of women. And honestly, when I first heard about this case, I thought there had to be some mistake in the reporting. Now, before we get into how this family completely imploded, let me introduce you to the victim, because she deserves better than just being remembered as a statistic.
Look, her boyfriend posted a new girl on Instagram.
Let me see your phone.
Oh my God.
Girl, let me see your phone.
Bitch,
Give me first. Let me shit out your ass.
dang.
Oh, he got a girl.
Oh my God.
All right, if he dead, yeah, he got a bitch. Nurse!
Oh, hell no.
Nurse!
Some lips.
Come take this off me. Girlfriend. Y'all just go sit. Oh my God, y'all ain't shit. Look at my lips. Y'all let me lay here, my lips.
31-year-old Larkia Elliott was the kind of person who lit up every room she walked into. You know those people who just have that energy? That infectious smile that makes you feel better about your day? That was Larkia. And man, was she hustling to build something real for herself. She built up over 20,000 subscribers on TikTok. And before you roll your eyes at another influencer, hear me out. This woman was actually talented. Her videos were pulling hundreds of thousands of views because she had that rare combination of genuine humor and personality that you just can't fake. She wasn't just dancing to trending sounds, she was creating content that people actually wanted to watch. And here's the thing that gets me. Larkia was this close to making her dream a reality. You know how many people talk about quitting their day job to pursue their passion? Well, she was actually about to do it. The girl was planning to leave her position as a detention officer at Maricopa County, Arizona, to become a full-time content creator. That takes guts, and honestly, smart move. But Larkia wasn't just some one-trick pony banking everything on social media fame. This woman had a work ethic that would put most people to shame. Born in Detroit, raised in Arizona, and she'd been grinding her entire life across more careers than some people have job interviews. We're talking caregiver, mental health counselor, preschool teacher, correctional officer. The woman knew how to adapt. And get this, she was running side hustles too. Handmade jewelry on Etsy, hair and nail services. Larkia understood something a lot of people don't. Diversify your income streams. She wasn't putting all her eggs in one basket. Now, about that correctional officer job. From October 2019 to August 2020, she worked at Lewis State Prison. And before anyone starts making jokes about irony, let me tell you something. Working in corrections isn't easy. You're dealing with people at their absolute worst, making split-second decisions that could mean life or death. The fact that she handled that job with professionalism while building her other ventures, that tells you everything about her character. But here's where Larkia really shined. Content creation wasn't just a side gig for her, it was her calling. When you watched her videos you could see it. The creativity, the humor, that vibrant energy that just jumped through the screen. She had that special something that separates real influencers from people just trying to get famous. Everything was finally falling into place for her. The entrepreneurial dreams, the growing online presence, the plan to work for herself full-time. She was building the life most people only dream about, finally ready to bet on herself and embrace a career that would let her personality shine. You know what's crazy? Life has this twisted way of pulling the rug out from under you, right when you think you've got your footing. Larkia was standing on the edge of everything she'd worked for. Independence, financial freedom, doing what she loved every single day. But sometimes the people closest to you become the biggest threat to your dreams. And sometimes family disputes don't end with slammed doors and silent treatments. Sometimes they end with police tape and chalk outlines. What started as Larkia's journey toward independence and success was about to take a turn that would destroy everything she'd built and cost her everything she'd ever have the chance to become. Now, here's where we need to talk about what was really going on behind those Mother's Day posts and family photos. Because Larkia wasn't just building her career, she was navigating a minefield at home. See, Larkia had started embracing this whole holistic lifestyle thing, growing out her natural hair into locks, diving deep into Black history, learning about health and wellness. Good for her, right? Personal growth is supposed to be celebrated, but apparently not everyone in the family was here for Larkia's evolution. The tensions at home were real, even though Larkia kept posting these loving tributes to her mom Tanisha and grandmother Deborah. Check this out. In May 2019, she writes this whole heartfelt Mother's Day message. Words can't explain how much I love this crazy woman. Sometimes our relationship is like a scale. Sometimes we go up or down. A scale that goes up and down? That's not exactly we have the perfect relationship, is it? That's someone trying to put a positive spin on drama. But she keeps going. You are still my mother who gave heir to the throne. Heir to the throne? What throne? We talking about a royal family or a family where someone's always fighting for control? And then she adds her grandmother Deborah to the tribute. These strong, beautiful women, they do their job better than a 9-to-5. They go above and beyond. Now that sounds sweet, but when you know how this story ends, you start reading between the lines differently, don't you? Here's what nobody talks about enough. 3 generations of women under one roof is complicated on a good day. Add in different mindsets about life, independence and how things should be done, and you've got a recipe for constant friction. Deborah came from that old-school generation where respect meant compliance, where questioning authority was disrespectful, where young people stayed in their lane. But Larkia, she was building her own lane, making her own money, growing her own following, planning her own future. That independent spirit that made Larkia successful online, that same energy was probably driving her grandmother absolutely crazy at home. Because when you're used to being the matriarch, watching your granddaughter outgrow your advice can feel like rebellion. December 15, 2024. Just after 4 p.m., what should have been a regular Sunday afternoon in Buckeye, Arizona, turned into something nobody saw coming. Officers get a call about shots fired at a home near Baseline and Miller Roads. But here's the thing. During that 911 call, you can hear yelling in the background. This wasn't some random break-in or drive-by situation. This was family business gone horribly wrong. When police show up, they're dealing with a chaotic scene. They order everyone inside to come out, and guess who emerges? A woman in her 50s. That's Tanisha, Larkia's mom. She comes out without incident, gets detained, but she's the only one who walks out alive. Inside the house, Officers find an unresponsive woman in her 30s with at least one gunshot wound. That's Larkia, and despite everything first responders try to do, she's pronounced dead at the scene. 20 minutes earlier, she was probably scrolling through TikTok or planning her next video. Now she's gone. But wait, there's more. They also find a woman in her 70s, Deborah, sitting there with a handgun nearby, not trying to hide it, not trying to run, just sitting there, like she's waiting for them to figure out what just happened. So here's what investigators piece together, and honestly it's stupider than you'd think for something that ended in death. Deborah hears her daughter Tanisha and granddaughter Larkia arguing in the living room. Normal family stuff. Smart move number 1. Deborah calls 911. Finally, someone in this family makes a reasonable decision. She's trying to get help to break up the fight. That's what you're supposed to do, right? But then everything goes sideways. Larkia tries to take the phone away from her grandmother. Now, I don't know if she didn't want the police involved, or if she just wanted to handle it herself, but that move backfired catastrophically. This is where it gets messy. Larkia allegedly punches her grandmother during this phone struggle. Then her mom Tanisha grabs Larkia by the hair, and now we've got a full-blown family brawl happening. And here's where Deborah makes the decision that changes everything. Instead of stepping back, instead of letting the police she already called handle it, instead of using literally any other de-escalation technique known to mankind, she grabs a gun. One shot to the back. That's how Larkia's dreams, her growing career, her plans for independence, all of it ends, with her grandmother shooting her in the back during what started as a regular family argument. When Deborah gets arrested, you know what she tells police. I shot my granddaughter, but I didn't think she was going to kill her mother. Hold up, run that back. You didn't think she was going to kill her mother, but you shot her anyway. That's like saying I didn't think the house was on fire, so I called the fire department. The logic doesn't add up, does it? So Deborah gets a full medical evaluation after her arrest, and surprise, no serious injuries. Which makes sense because getting punched by your granddaughter during a phone struggle apparently doesn't justify shooting her in the back. Who could have predicted that? When she finally appears in court, Deborah shows up in a wheelchair. Now I'm not saying that's strategic, but it's interesting timing, isn't it? Sometimes people suddenly need mobility assistance right around the time they're facing murder charges. The judge doesn't mess around though, sets her bond at $500,000 cash. Not a property bond, not a percentage, cold hard cash.
Good morning, ma'am. May I have your name and date of birth?
My name is Deborah Green Davis.
Is your date of birth June 9th, 1953?
Correct.
All right. We are here today on Superior Court in new case. You were arrested on allegations of murder in the second degree, which is a Class 1 felony. I will find probable cause and I will appoint you an attorney. I'm setting a status conference on December 23rd at 8:30 and a preliminary hearing on December 26th at 8:30, both in the downtown Superior Court. I am going to issue a cash bond today in the amount of $500,000. That does mean you can use a bonding company. Bonding companies are going to set their own terms on cash bonds, but you'll have access to the bonding companies when you get back to custody. If you do post that bond, I'm also ordering that pretrial services supervise you in the community and that they install an ankle monitor on you prior to your release. If you do post that bond, I'm also ordering that you not return to the scene of any alleged crime, no contact with any alleged victim, complainant, or witness, no contact with the arresting officers, no weapons, no drugs without a valid prescription, and no driving without a valid driver's license. This will all be in your paperwork. Do you have any questions?
No, I don't.
Okay.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Not a problem. Grab that paperwork from the officer, and then they'll take you back out to process.
Okay.
On your legs.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That's the court's way of saying we think you might be a flight risk, Grandma. That means the prosecution believes Deborah acted intentionally but without premeditation. Basically, you meant to shoot her but you didn't plan it ahead of time, which tracks with a family argument that escalated way beyond anything reasonable. But let's talk about what really happened here, because this case raises some uncomfortable questions that nobody wants to address. First off, where exactly was Tanisha during all this? Your daughter and your mother are having a physical altercation. Your mother pulls out a gun, and you just watched? The reports say she grabbed Larkia by the hair, so she was actively participating in this fight. But when her own mother aimed a weapon at her daughter, did she try to stop it? Did she scream? Did she do anything? Because here's what's bothering me. This wasn't some split-second decision. Deborah had to process that her granddaughter was struggling with her daughter, walk to wherever she kept that gun, pick it up, aim it, and pull the trigger. That's a series of choices, not one moment of panic. And let's be honest about the family dynamics here. Larkia was becoming independent, successful, ready to leave that correctional officer job and build her own empire. But sometimes the people who raised you can't handle watching you outgrow the life they planned for you. Was this really about protecting Tanisha from her daughter? Or was this about an older woman who couldn't stand that her granddaughter was slipping beyond her control? Because shooting someone in the back doesn't exactly scream "I was defending my family." Here's the uncomfortable truth. Families can be toxic. Love doesn't automatically mean healthy. And sometimes the people who claim they're protecting you are really just protecting their own authority over you. Larkia spent years posting those loving social media tributes, talking about how her relationship with her family was like a scale that goes up and down. That's someone trying really hard to maintain peace in a situation that probably never felt peaceful. Think about it. She's building this amazing online presence, gaining thousands of followers, planning her escape from the 9-to-5 grind, finally ready to bet on herself and live her dreams. But every day she goes home to people who probably saw her success as disrespect, her independence as rebellion. On January 3, 2025, Larkia Elliott was laid to rest in Detroit, Michigan, 21 days after her grandmother decided that a family argument was worth ending a life over. But here's what really gets me. We didn't just lose Larkia that day. We lost everything she could have become. The content she would have created, the people she would have inspired, the business she would have built. All those dreams and plans and potential, gone because someone couldn't handle a heated conversation without reaching for a weapon. This case isn't just about domestic violence or family dysfunction. It's about what happens when control becomes more important than love, when ego matters more than life, when some people would rather destroy what they can't dominate. Look, family arguments happen, voices get raised, feelings get hurt, sometimes people storm out and don't talk for weeks. That's normal. What's not normal is thinking the solution to family drama involves ammunition. So the next time someone tries to tell you that family always comes first, remember Larkia Elliott. Remember that sometimes the most dangerous place you can be is in your own home, with people who claim to love you but can't stand to see you grow beyond their expectations. And if you're dealing with family members who can't celebrate your success, who see your independence as a threat, who need to control every aspect of your life, maybe it's time to ask yourself whether their version of love is worth your peace of mind, or in Larkia's case, your life. Rest in peace, Larkia Elliott. You deserved better than the family that failed you. Family should be a refuge, but even the closest ties can fracture. Stay alert, look out for one another, and reach out if you sense danger. See you in the next story here on Fatal Family Network. Thanks for watching.